Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Cackle. This is EntryPoint's weekly interview series where we highlight small businesses, startups, and people who are having an impact on communities across the Midwest. I'm Emily Heinz. Ignore the fly. The fly is not part of the show. I'm Emily Heinz. I'm the founder and managing director of EntryPoint, and we partner with economic development organizations and nonprofits to foster inclusive and vibrant communities across the Midwest through research and community-focused programming. And this week, we're doing some really fun programming. It is week 5 of our special edition of the Cackle, which features small businesses from across the Midwest. So it's like super fun way to start the week. Every Monday at 10:30 a.m., we feature 3 small Midwest-based businesses who have positively impacted their communities and contributed to the vibrancy of their local economies. And we just really want to celebrate them and encourage them. And use this opportunity to really encourage all of our viewers to continue shopping locally, dining locally, and doing business locally, especially as we're kind of maybe emerging from the pandemic. Maybe it's really going to be a long recovery period for a lot of small business owners, speaking as a small business owner. And so really focusing on continuing to support your local business community is really important. We also want to take a minute to thank our sponsors, DTE Energy Foundation, Lightship Capital, Jobs Ohio, World Business Chicago, the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, and Wisconsin Alumni Research Foundation, WRF. So today we are excited to be talking to the owners of Taj Cottage, Perfect Imperfection 608, and Riverside Arts Center. So it's going to be a great week 5. If you have any shout outs or comments too, feel free to put them in the comments. We also will link on Facebook to various business pages and stuff so that if you guys are kind of oh, I love them, you can check it out. Facebook is the place to kind of check out the links specifically. And as you all know, each week our viewers select kind of their favorite business from that week. And that company receives $1,000 from EntryPoint to support the growth of their company. And the company that was selected this week is...
Hello. I'm doing well, thank you.
I'm so excited. And everybody, so as part of the voting, we tell people to submit comments about this is why this is my favorite business. You had such a ridiculous number of comments that were she's the best person ever.
Aww. Our customers are amazing, and allowing us to work in the community through our Share the Love program makes me happy. So, hey, I'm glad they voted, and thank you everyone who voted. And thank you for the opportunity, Emily. It's really, truly been an honor to do this.
Yeah, it's been great talking to you. I love hearing about all the small business owners and what they've been doing the last 18 months. And I feel like everyone, you've had such a shining light during the pandemic, especially so many of the comments were just over the moon about everything that you've been doing in the community and the impact that you have on the community. So it's kind of cool, heartwarming.
That's cool. I'm glad people are happy to share the love and also to enjoy some crazy jam life that we do.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. And then everyone can check on Sticky Spoon's Jam's website, because you continually update what farmers markets you're going to appear at and where people can buy products from you. So everyone make sure you kind of check that out, because it's people are legit obsessed with. If you like some jam, you got to check that out for sure.
we can't ship just yet. We're working on that. But if you're in the Michigan area, you could definitely find us at an event, craft show, farmers market. We have our tent up, and we'll ask you, are you a vodka, tequila, or rum, or what do you want to make with jam that day? And we'll find the right one for you.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, well, have a good rest of your day, and thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a great day.
Night. Exciting. So our first special guest joining us today is Rachna Chandra. She is the owner of Taj Cottage, which is located in Farmington Hills, Michigan. Where are you? Hey!
Hi.
So for those of you that are not really near to Farmington Hills, Taj Cottage is an Indian bridal wear boutique that is in Farmington Hills, founded by Rachna in 2008. It carries the latest Indian and Pakistani fashion and Indian clothing, jewelry, accessories, bridal wear, and kids outfits. And if you go on your website, like there's like the best pictures ever. Like I was like, oh, I love a website with great photos. There's like so many, even like the one that you sent in for like the this graphic. I was like, whoa! Yes. So tell a little bit background on like you and your business.
Well, first of all, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Emily, for having me here. It's such been a pleasure. Sorry, I was not able to attend the last one when you called me first time, but here I am. So Taj Cottage actually was founded in 2005 out of my garage when I was taking care of my 1-year-old daughter and was pregnant with my son. So, working from a garage to a small basement to a bigger basement. And in 2019, I opened my first storefront in Farmington Hills.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, it has been quite a journey. And the brand has been around since 16 years, past 16 years. So, it has built its clientele where I serve Indian as well as non Indian ethnicities as also. Apart from designing Indian bridal wear and Indian ethnic wear for the whole family, I actually do fusion wear also. I design fusion wear too. So recently in February 2021, I had an opportunity to showcase my fusion line at New York Fashion Week.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It was quite a trip to New York in the pandemic, but we did it.
Yeah, really. That is like traveling anywhere now is like extra layers of complication. And you probably had to take like tons of outfits and things like that, or were you able to ship those separately?
No, it was actually 8 designs. I had to showcase 8 designs. So, but I traveled with the team of models from Taj Cottage extended family. And
Okay.
it was quite a challenge to do I do the COVID test? Do I quarantine when I reach New York? It was mixed messages and mixed feeling, and but we did it. We all made safely
Yeah.
back home too. We did it.
Yeah, that's so why did you decide, like when you're like pregnant with your second child and you've got a young child, like I have 2 kids and I like make my brain go crazy. Why did you decide to start a business?
This was my teenage dream. I always wanted to be an entrepreneur and a fashion designer. So got married, migrated in 97 to America. Then, with the green card struggle and a migrant and all that. So
Yeah.
I, of course, with the, excuse me, with the family and raising the kid, I quit my job.
Yeah.
So then I thought of starting my business as a teenage dream. I'm like, this is the right time now. I'm taking care of the kids. I'm home. Let
Yeah.
me do it. Let me do it. I have the time now. It's just that I started my business a little bit before I got the news that I'm pregnant. So
You're like, oh.
okay, whatever. Now I'm here. I have to do this. Let's do it.
It's funny because I do hear from so many small business owners about just like I'm like, oh, how's the pandemic been for you? Like, how's that? And they're like, well, I'm kind of used to just like the constant navigation, like, oh, this happened, oh, this life event happened, this business thing happened, and you kind of like navigate it. And so it's just like funny how like some business owners, I'm like, well, more power to you. But some business owners are just like, yeah, you have got so many navigations going on. So I guess that would be a great example of one. You're just
Yes,
like, well,
I have navigated quite a bit too. So, working part time with my business, raising 2 kids was not an easy job.
yeah,
But yeah, I was doing it and I was happy, fulfilling my dream and living it. Then I got an opportunity in 2013 from Henry Ford College to teach industrial sewing class.
Oh, cool.
Since I come from a sewing background and I love to sew, I've been sewing since, I don't know, I was like probably elementary school kid. I don't even remember how long it has been. Learned from my mom, my school teacher. It used to be a subject in our high school. We had to learn it. Then, I took that opportunity to teach industrial sewing class at Henry Ford. I taught for about 3.5 years, spearheaded their curriculum, their whole program.
Wow, that's so.
And yeah, it was pretty cool. So
Real quick, would you consider yourself to be like a fashion designer or like what would you consider yourself to be like this? I'm trying to think of like what the skill set is,
I
like
know it.
all the things.
I actually wear multiple hats. I do a lot of philanthropy work too. I'm a
Oh,
founder of a nonprofit. I'm a board member of another nonprofit. So I wear multiple hats. So I would love to be called both if possible.
yeah.
But more part, I like to be a fashion designer.
Yeah, that is really cool.
Yeah, I like bling. I like the the limelight. That's a fashion designer.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so you were teaching the class and you were kind of like designing the entire curriculum, and then what happened?
And then the program kind of slowed down because of low attendance, and it's kind of shut down. So I had to, take another job. Then I moved full time with the corporate and designing interior seat trims. Being in Detroit, you have a lot of opportunities in automotive. So I took over that. I was designing for a supplier who was designing for Ford F-150. 18 months about in that job, somewhere I felt like this is not me.
Yeah.
I cannot work for corporates and it's just not me. So that was the end of that corporate career. I moved back to my business full time, and that's when I decided to open a storefront. My kids were old enough to take care of themselves, and I opened the storefront in 2019.
Man, what advice would you kind of have for other people who are thinking about starting a business? Because I feel like kind of that reflection point where like people are kind of like, I'm working in this big, like at this big company, and it's kind of the new worst day every day. And the global pandemic has hit. Now I'm thinking about maybe starting the thing that I've always wanted to start. Like, what advice would you have for those people since you've already been there, done that?
Well, the first advice for anybody, young or old, or even starting or in wherever you are in your career, is focus. Be consistent. Be true to yourself and your customers. So that's what people like, and that's what they will see in you, and they believe in you after that. They support you a long way.
Yeah, that's really good. That's smart. I like that.
Yeah.
How has like the last 18 months been? Because you've been doing like a lot of philanthropy too. Like I was even seeing in the information you guys had submitted that you guys had like kind of during COVID been like sewing masks and raising money and like doing a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, last 18 months has been quite a journey. Business was suffering. Of course, it was closed for 3 months with lockdown. Since the lockdown started, and I was kind of depressed for a couple of days. I'm like, everything is shut down. And I think it was just not only me. Everybody was doing something or other. Yeah.
Yeah, we're all like, wait,
What?
is that happening?
Yeah.
Like I
We
was
can't
sharp.
go out. We can't do anything. It's like it took me a couple of days to come out of that coma. And
Yeah.
I saw that's need of mask. So I YouTubed, taught myself how to sew one. Then I started sewing for friends and family, a few masks here and there. And one post I posted on social media, and that was kind of viral. And everybody was like, how can I get one? I need one. I need one. So about 4 to 5 days, I sold them. Then I realized that there is so much need in the community, and these people in hospitals and whatnot, they all need these.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the right time to make money. So I converted the mission into a donation mission. It's called Taj Cottage Mask Mission. It's all over on my social media, and even if you Google it, it will show up. So the challenging part was, how do I fund this mission? I don't have money of my own where my business is shut down that I can have thousands of dollars to fund this mission. So I
Yeah.
started a personal Facebook fundraiser and raised over $15,000. That helped me fund the mission. And the mission became actually really big. And I had over almost about 75 volunteers helping me sew this.
Man,
About, about 45 people stayed with me from beginning to the end.
wow,
And
that's
we all,
amazing.
I know, and we all were sewing out of our homes in our home sewing machines. Nobody was even stepping out, meeting each other. My
Yeah.
husband used to do the pick and drop at the porches, everybody's house. I bought the material through the fundraisers, and when elastic was out, we converted to ties. And of course, the community, the friends and family and media, everybody helped me in the exposure and helped me make the mission a very successful one. I actually got awarded with officer's coin from Macomb Correctional Facility, as
Oh,
well as I got governor's recognition recently about the mission.
wow, that's awesome.
Yep, it has been a really, really good effort and a really good feeling. We donated one big time donation of 810 masks to USNS Navy Comfort Ship when it was docked in New York, if you guys remember.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that was our one big time donation, which went to the Comfort Ship.
Wow. Man, it's a way to like turn something where like in the beginning of the pandemic, like you said, it was just kind of um like kind of turn that feeling into like something where you're like, okay, I'm like productively like helping and like getting a
I'm
chance to
so
like,
glad that I have the skill and I was
yeah.
able to do it. Even my daughter helped me after the mission was uh, finished. She helped me use the leftover material to sew, to teach free sewing classes to kids and adults.
Oh, cool. That's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I wish I'd found that in the beginning because I feel like everyone was just started like sewing these masks like people who had never sewed before. And I think I walked around with half the pandemic looking crazy. Like if I had known there was like a fashion designer designing
Yeah.
masks, it was like a master's seamstress, that probably would have been a real big upgrade. I like I had a mask that had like hair ties as the things.
Yes.
That's what I walked around with whenever.
Actually, when elastic was not available and the supply chain was quite disturbed from
Oh,
China,
really?
that's when people have converted into hair ties and the cloth ties. That was the problem with the
Oh,
hair. Yeah, that was the
oh,
issue
that
when
makes
people.
total sense. I
Yeah,
should be less harsh on them then.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like after a while, I was like, man, but what? I was just grabbing whatever I could.
After NBC interviewed me, the in New York, they interviewed me over Instagram. I had
Oh,
people donate elastic from New York. Like there was a lingerie company who used this soft elastic. They sent me some elastic. So I
oh,
have done some crazy stuff with those masks, but people needed them. It was quite such a dire need. They
yeah.
didn't care. Let it be with hair tie or a lingerie elastic.
Yeah, that does seem like that would be like the most comfortable mask too, because like
Yes,
people
I
have
know.
to have it for like the holding things in place and so on
Yeah.
and so forth. I went clean with that one. Holding things in place. Um, so what are some of your things that you're looking forward to, like kind of in the next 5 years? Like what are your plans for your business?
Well, a little bit part I missed in 2020 was that since business was not doing good, so I had to have an income to keep my store open.
Yeah.
Really didn't want to close it. It's
Yeah.
hard work of 15 years. So
Yeah.
I took over a job at a nonprofit called Zaman International in
Hmm.
Inkster, and they are nonprofit as well.
Yeah.
They help low income women and kids to have a livelihood and help them get a job. So they have started recently an industrial sewing program.
Oh, wow.
So here I go again.
Yeah, exactly. That's cool. And you have like such a good like teaching background as well. So it seems like that will be really good. And then maybe they could then like come work at Taj Cottage and then like expansion. Do you want to own like multiple stores at some point, or do you feel like it's kind of like the one is is more than enough?
If I can find people to work, yes, I would love to own multiple stores. It's very hard to find. good employees nowadays. So,
Yeah, it is like, I think that's what I keep trying to like, when we're talking to small business owners, and a lot of times when we're talking to like politicians or like community support organizations or like business support organizations, and they're kind of like, well, we're coming out of the pandemic and kind of things can kind of go back to normal. And I'm like, yeah, I think there's like a lot of portions of things that are not like, there's, first of all, we're kind of going back into the pandemic again.
yeah.
But like, it's kind of like all of these small businesses are going to take so long to kind of recover from this. And like the supply chains are still a little bit messed up. And like the talent pool is kind of all over the place. And some people are comfortable with, customers are comfortable going in and some people aren't. So I'm like, yeah, I feel like it's like a new phase of the pandemic. It's not like it was before. Like
It's a new world we all are living in with new habits and new daily routines, of course. Everybody working from home is another challenge, but I'm lucky to have a storefront and run out of my house.
yeah. That is
So
awesome.
I have my sanity, but it's been really great journey so far, even with the mask mission and Taj Cottage and whatnot. And with my new job, I still currently have the job and I would love to keep it. That's my another passion, to teach this dying skill to the community. It's such so important.
Really cool.
People don't realize, you turn around, you excuse me, you look around, turn around, you will see sewing is in everything.
Yeah.
Without that, you will not be able to survive. I
Yeah.
pity those people who don't know how to even sew their own buttons. I mean, it's not that hard.
Yeah, even if you're gonna guess how to sew it, I feel like you could figure it out. You're like, just try.
Yeah, YouTube it. It's pretty easy.
Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah, that is like, I don't know how to sew, but that was something that like even my mom and my grandma are both like, just know how to sew, and like, of course you would learn how to sew. Like that's terrible. But
I have
yeah.
even taught my son how to sew.
Oh, that's good.
If he continues or not, that's a different story, but he knows how to sew.
Yeah, you're like, now you fix all of your own buttons. I'm not
Yes.
fixing those anymore. So where can people go to, purchase, like you guys outfit entire families. So like, where can people go if they're looking for clothing?
Well, the good, if you want to look at the whole collection, it will be good if you can visit the store, the boutique in Farmington Hills.
Yeah.
If not, we do virtual appointments. You can have a FaceTime appointment and we can do that.
Okay.
I also take virtual appointments for designing nowadays, since people cannot visit me very often, which is fine. I have customers driving from Pennsylvania, Chicago, Ohio, Indiana, Midwest basically, right? So I have clients from the Midwest, and you can shop online too. I am revamping my website currently. It doesn't have a whole lot now, but soon it will be revamped and it will have a whole lot. So just visit my website or give me an email or a phone call to set up a virtual appointment, what you're looking for. I do have things for everyone in the house, the whole family. Yeah. I do carry shoes also, jewelry, accessories. I do have a shoe line with the matching purses as well.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
crazy. It's funny that you say there's not that much on your website, because when I was on your website, I was like, there's so many things.
I want to put the whole store on the website, Emily.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really, that would be so impossible. And then people can go to tajcottage.com to check that
Yes,
out.
yeah, tashcottage.com, or my phone number is there on the website as well. Reach out to me, email me.
Cool.
I can
Yeah,
be.
and we'll put that in the comments on Facebook, but people can pretty easily like find it through our website and all of that stuff, or just go to tajcottage.com directly. But cool. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to chat this morning.
My pleasure.
Yeah, it was so nice meeting you. You've like
Thank
done
you.
it all. I love it.
Thank you.
Okay, bye. Now we would like to welcome our next guest, which is Jasmine Banks.
Good
Hey,
morning.
wait, let me make you a little bit bigger.
Okay.
How are you?
I'm good, Emily. How are you?
Jasmine, I'm good. This is like the best way to kind of start the week, I think, is just like, I'm like, yay, small businesses unite.
Absolutely, I agree.
Jasmine is the owner of Perfect Imperfection 608, which is located in Madison, Wisconsin. It is a handcrafted natural body care line. She founded the company in 2016, and their mission is to empower women to appreciate life daily and care for themselves with safe, chemical-free body products. Why did you decide to like start a business?
Absolutely. My mother actually passed away from uterine cancer back in 2012.
Oh,
And
I'm sorry.
so I started to think about the reason why, like why did my mom, why was she diagnosed with cancer? So I started to research the different ingredients of the things that we put on our bodies, so our toiletries, and the things that we use every day. And
Yeah.
as I started to research those ingredients on the internet, I started to see that some of the chemicals that were being used were saying they were harmful in small doses.
Mm.
So then what I started to do was research natural body care products, and I started to make my own, and I journaled that on Facebook. So I had a series called Mine versus Theirs. So I would put like a toothpaste that I had previously used and the list of their ingredients next to my ingredients.
Oh, that's cool. And so that people can be like, oh, I recognize these things. And, like I can understand what's going into my body and all of that.
Right. And absolutely. And so I wanted it to be more of, I wanted my friends to be aware of all the things that we use, that we don't realize how much chemicals are in them. And so
Yeah,
then, right?
it is like crazy. And you also don't realize like even just like how much like sugar and like all those things, you just kind of like, oh yeah, just whatever. And then it's just, yeah. Yeah.
Right. And we always talk about food, but very rarely do we talk about our toiletries or the products that we put on our skin, which is our largest. And so behind the scenes, my friends were saying, how much do you sell, your toothpaste for, your deodorant for? And I was like, oh, I don't sell it. Like, this is just for me. But I wanted you to know, like, I wanted you to be aware.
Oh,
And then enough of my friends started to ask that I thought, well, maybe it could be a business.
yeah, that is smart because, and it does seem like so many organizations start that way where it's like they're trying to do something like even um, Aya from Sticky Spoons, who was on at the beginning, like she had started just making jam like for friends and things. And then it was like kind of snowballed from there. And I feel like that's kind of the way to do it is like you just like lead up to your market, like you're like, oh, I just scale up per market demand.
Right, right.
Yeah,
We
it
see
seems like
we see a problem and then we find a solution.
yeah, and it seems like everyone really likes your products. I know, like, just like in doing stocking for preparing for this show, I was just like, oh my gosh, like people are so into this, like into like everything you have and being like, this is the best this, or this is my favorite. No, this is the best thing she has. And like, I was like, oh, I love it.
Um,
So how has the last like 18 months been? I feel like that's kind of been crazy for everybody.
it has. So it's been an interesting journey. Previous to 2020, my business was in markets. So I would do all in-person business
Okay.
on the different pop-up markets that folks had. And then I had a business mentor who kept saying for the previous 3 years, Jasmine, you should get a website. And I was like, that's really not my thing. I launched my website on February 27th of 2020.
Oh, good thing. Good
Right?
thing you did.
Right.
Oh my gosh. Was
Yeah.
it like how you wanted it, or was it just kind of like just getting started and then all of a sudden 10 days later you were like, oh crap, quick, get everything up there?
No, so February 27th was my 4th year anniversary. So I had been working up to it. And I knew that I wanted to launch on that date. But little did I know 2 weeks later, we would be in the beginning of a global pandemic. Right.
Yeah.
And so I had done 2 events prior to that. So my schedule was already planned for the year of the events that I was going to do. And I thought, oh, I'll just have my website, in addition to that. And then the next thing I know, one by one, folks are canceling these outdoor events or these events in person. And then my customers started to come to me and say, Jasmine, this is canceled. So how can I get your product? So
Oh
then
yeah.
so then I was able to start to send them towards my website, which was beautiful, actually.
Whew, that is so lucky. My goodness. Yeah, there's like definitely the looking back at different like emails or like things that like we were gonna do or something that we're like, no, maybe we won't do that. That then like afterwards you're like, oh my gosh, if we had done that, it would have been a disaster. Oh my,
Absolutely.
a lot of things that are just like, whew, that was a close call.
It's true. Because who would have thought in a million years that we would be in a pandemic ever,
Yeah, I know.
ever, you
Most
know?
thing. Like I'm going to say earlier, like in the beginning of the pandemic, when Rachna was saying like, oh yeah, she just like was depressed for a few days. Like I was like getting ready for the zombie apocalypse. Like I was like, I've watched The Walking Dead. Now is the time to prepare and sharpen the sticks.
Right,
The zombies are probably going to be coming soon. Like just
right,
like who knows
right.
what's going on.
Yeah, because how do you know? And that's the thing, how do you know? And then in the midst of this global pandemic, we actually had the murder of George Floyd. And
Mhm.
so that's when, especially as a Black woman and a business owner, I started to see the community come together to support more than they had previously been supporting. And so for me, it was, how do I use my platform? Because I have grandchildren. And I thought there's going to come a time where my grandchildren are going to say, what did you do during
Yeah.
this pandemic? What did you do as a result of this George Floyd? And so I was able to use my platform, which is my business, so I said, I'm going to use a week and 10% of my earnings, I will send to a local nonprofit who does
Oh,
social justice. Yeah. Um,
yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, that definitely is like the reckoning of like the thinking of your what when your kids are like, well, my kids are really young, but when they're learning about this in school and being like, what did you do during this time? And like, what was your reaction? It's like you have to be answerable to those things. And I hope a lot of the stuff stays because I think a lot of people during the last year have been like really like, oh, we got, like you have to support Black owned businesses and things like that. And I'm like, I hope that kind of momentum like stays and it isn't just like same with like, shop local campaigns and things like that, that it's something that's like a permanent change and not just oh, well, we were doing that like during this time just because it seemed needed. Now doesn't seem like it's needed anymore. Um, but yeah.
yeah, I agree. I agree. And I truly believe that we're still in that space where people are continuing to support those that they learned about during that moment in time. So I,
Yeah.
like you, Emily, hope that it will continue on. And I
Yeah.
feel like it has for me.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really great that it's like that you're seeing like more customers because of that. Because definitely it would be hard to kind of pivot your business to go online when you were used to being at like farmers markets and things like that.
Great.
What are you hoping to do kind of in the next 5 years?
So,
If the pandemic ever ends.
Emily, I'm keeping my fingers
I
crossed.
know, I'm like,
Right? Yes, yes. Within the next 5 years, I hope so. I was part of a program called the Market Ready program in
hmm.
Madison, Wisconsin, because they're putting together a Madison public market.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah. So, last summer, well, it must have been, I think it was last summer, I was nominated, or I was selected as to be one of the first 5 businesses in the Madison public market. So I'm
Oh,
super excited.
yeah, that's awesome. Congratulations. I feel like that's so cool.
Thank you. So I'm super excited to be able to say that within the near future, I will have a brick and mortar.
Yeah, awesome. When do you think, like, what is it dependent on?
So it's dependent on just a lot of things like fundraising, capital. The space is currently, so during the pandemic, the space was transferred into a space for homeless folks
Hmm.
because the homeless shelter was just too small. So they
Yeah.
needed a larger space. So they're currently using that space for the homeless shelter. So once they're able to locate a new space for the homeless shelter, then we'll break ground for the Madison Public Market.
Oh, cool. Well, that's
Yeah.
good. Yeah, and that will also be like a good, hopefully, like if there's new space for the homeless shelter and like maybe once things are kind of getting back to normal, like job workforce wise and things, then that won't be like as much of a need, one would hope as well. So that's good. Yeah, that's going to be so exciting. Like a
Yeah.
whole brick and mortar. Um, what are some of the ways, like, so what is your website? It's perfectimperfections608.org. Is that it?
It is. Yep.
Okay, perfect. And then people can go on there to like buy products and things like that. And do you ship like everywhere?
I do. So I currently ship nationally. I haven't had an international request, but if I do, I would figure that out.
Yeah.
And also for those people who are in Madison, Wisconsin, I'm in a storefront called Little Luxuries, downtown Madison. So they can also purchase my products locally downtown.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Then so I'm gonna have to check that out. I like that toothpaste idea. That is not like I've not seen a good toothpaste out there lately.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to check that out. What are some of your like most popular products?
I would say my most popular product is my body butter. So it's cocoa. Yeah. So it's coconut oil, shea butter, coconut or cocoa butter, and then sweet almond oil.
Oh,
So that's,
nice.
yeah. Yeah. And then I have 2 scents of goat's milk soap. So I have a lemongrass and poppy seed, which is my favorite. And then I have a lavender goat's milk soap. So those are two of my most popular products.
Man, have you like made the skincare products before kind of looking into the products, or was it like something you just taught yourself how to do like when you were looking into it more and then kind of like perfected it over time? Or like how did you like get skilled up for that?
It was just what you said. It was me just it was trial and error. It was me just putting things together and figuring out how they work. I had plenty of things where I was like, okay, this doesn't work. This isn't good. I remember putting together because I couldn't understand why, what would I need to do in order to keep my products from melting? So like my lip balm, and then being able to say, okay, so put beeswax in it. Well, then I had a customer who said, I'm allergic to bees. So then I got a vegan wax. So my customers are really good at helping me figure out what I need to do,
Yeah.
or what they need. But it was just trial and error. It was just kind of putting things together and seeing if they worked and doing some research on the internet.
Wow, that's cool. I like that. What do you think your advice would be to other people who are thinking about starting a business?
I think most importantly, just do it. Just try, right? So
Yeah.
it's true what they say, nothing beats a failure but a try.
Yeah.
So, right? I mean, and I think we beat ourselves up a lot about as small business owners because we constantly think, oh, this isn't going to work, but just try it, right? Don't be afraid to ask. People love to share. So don't be afraid to ask information or for help. And I also think that there's a lot, especially in Madison, I can talk about, and I'm sure different cities and states, there's a lot of different resources, especially for
Mhm.
small businesses.
Yeah.
So, and utilize those things because we have the false narrative that you get what you pay for.
Oh, right. And
But
so
a
people
lot of,
are like, oh, I don't want that free thing. It must not be any good and stuff. But yeah, there are a lot of like business support organizations and economic development organizations out there that run programs because their payoff is like the long-term vibrancy of the community and having active businesses and jobs and things like that. So they like want to help people get started. So
absolutely.
yeah, that is great. There are a ton across the Midwest as well. So it's like in Madison's like a really like vibrant community. And so I like that. I Madison's so nice.
It is. It is. It's been my home. My
Area.
family's been here for 5 generations. I love it. So,
Oh my gosh, 5 generations.
yes.
Man, you guys are like the mayor of that community. That is crazy. That's a long time.
It is all the way from my grandpa to my grandchildren.
Wow, that's so cool. What is so why do you think it's important for people to shop local and sort of like do business locally?
I think we learned that during the pandemic, right? Because the support that we give to our neighbors, because the folks that are small business owners are our neighbors. We go
Yeah.
to our kids go to school together, right? We go to the same grocery store. So I think the importance, number one, of putting those dollars shopping small back into your community is helping to not only sustain your community, but it's helping to sustain the people that we actually know.
Yeah. We do a lot of research on small businesses across the Midwest because we're a research organization as well. But yeah, it's over 90% of small business owners live in the same county as their business, and then over 80% live in the actual same exact municipality. So it's like if they have a business in Madison, they live in Madison, or if they have a business in like Niles, Michigan, they live in Niles, Michigan. So it's like, yeah, over 80% live in the exact same municipality. So I totally agree. It's like, you're supporting a local job creator, you're supporting a local family, you're like paying for local, like, you know, you're paying for your community members to like send their kids to ballet lessons and things like that. And also I think like small business owners have such a, you're more in tune with what's happening in the local community for like, you know, local nonprofits that are supporting certain initiatives and how to like work together as a community. So I feel like a lot of that like community vibrancy and stuff is like the bred because of the local small business community. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I do love myself some local small businesses, that's for sure.
I do
Someone
too.
just created a whole business on it.
It's true. You know, and two, I think the customer service that you get from small businesses is so different from the customer service that you're going to get at a big box.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so true. And when you go to a big box store, like the money you spend there, a lot of times just completely leaves your area because they, you know, like, you know, have their stores elsewhere and their headquarters elsewhere and like all of this. So it's kind of like, don't shop on Amazon. Don't shop.
I'm right there. Look, Emily, I'm right there with you.
I know.
When I first started my business, one of the things, because I didn't know, right? So I was sourcing from Amazon. And then as I got to know what I needed, I started to Google, because I love Google, right? So I started to Google. So if I was looking for candle tins, it was a business that I didn't even know that was down the road for me that had been in business for 20 years. So now that's where I go get my candle wax. That's where I go get my candle tins. So as much as I can source locally, I try my hardest. Because I, like you said, I want to be able to keep that money, those dollars in my own community.
Yeah, and it is like, it might be like, you know, one extra little step that somebody has to take in order to just like Google, you know, some product, kids lunch boxes near me, instead of like just going to Amazon to like get something like that. So it's kind of, you know, always best to support a local business if you can.
Absolutely.
But awesome. So people can go to perfectimperfection608.org to check out all of your skincare and like body products, and handcrafted natural body care. All of the things.
Yes, all of the things.
Not just lotions, it's all of the things.
Yes,
But yeah, thank you so much for being on today. And I'm definitely going to like check out the website.
I love it. Well, thank you for having me. This was so much fun.
Yay. Okay. I will talk to you soon, hopefully.
Thank you, Emily. Bye-bye.
Cool. And then last but not least, we have Amy Fracker, who runs the Riverside Arts Center. Let me get you closer. Hey. Oh,
Hey,
and you have
good morning. Happy
thing
Friday
behind-
or Monday. It's Monday.
Yeah, I know.
I wish
It
it were
just
Friday.
looks like a Friday. We got Friday energy here on
Yes,
Monday.
we do.
So you are the executive director of the Riverside Arts Center. It's in Ypsilanti, Michigan.
It is.
It's a nonprofit arts center that was founded in 1995. And it offers, promotes, and nurtures dynamic art and cultural programs through arts education, performing arts, visual and fine arts activities. And you serve and engage the community in Ipsy, but it's also like larger, like
Oh,
people
yeah.
come from all over. Like people are really obsessed with you guys, which I like. I
Yes.
always see things like when we launched this, there were so many people that were like, Riverside Arts Center.
I love it. I love it. Well, we are truly a nonprofit, which in my opinion is the ultimate oxymoron, right? We need profit to run a nonprofit.
Yeah, I know that is how it's like so many people are like, oh yeah, you don't need any money to run that. And it's like, no, you need all the money.
And it's
Yeah,
interesting when I hear your other guests talking about their business and how the pandemic affected it. I have enjoyed this pandemic for so many reasons. I know that sounds crazy, but you know what it did? It forced people to look outside the box. And so many of them went to the arts. so many people I know were trying a painting class online, or they
Yeah.
looking at, oh, I've always wanted to learn how to embroider or, work with clay. And so they, maybe went on Amazon, maybe went to their local store and said, how can I get these and try it? And I absolutely adored that. That to me was such a sure sign of how the arts really can affect a community.
Yeah, and like as a de-stressor, and like people
Yeah.
are like, in addition to baking their sourdough bread, they're like,
Right.
I know so many people that got back into like, oh, I used to draw a lot when I was like in high school or
Yep.
middle school, and then gave it up, and then now we're like picking it up again, and you're like, whoa, you're really good. Like, why didn't you like, always do this?
Why didn't I try that before? Yeah, coping mechanism for stress during the pandemic. I mean, that was amazing. So I enjoyed learning how people did cope with the pandemic, and felt great about the fact that they went towards the arts, and because that's who we are. That's what we strive to be, an art center in a community that serves a diverse population and within the Washtenaw County. And so it's amazing the support that we have had over the years.
Yeah. And it's not like a museum. It's like you guys run like tons of like classes and community development programs.
We're at an interesting juncture because we have had a model for the past 25 years of renting our space to creatives and organizations to run their programs out of. This is an old Masonic temple building. It's a gorgeous building.
Yeah.
And so there was a group of founders that said, oh, we've got to do something with this. This is a perfect spot for an art center. And so that model has lasted for 25 years, and it's been a great model. But now we're really looking at, what does the next 25 years look like? And these sustainability concepts, we are starting to produce our own programming. And that is what's going to make the next 25, 50, 75 years here really, really exciting for us. So that is my specialty. I have a background in arts, and I love the challenge of being able to create programming that really speaks to everyone in our community. We talk a lot about who do we serve? And that's always on our mind. Who do we serve? And what a privilege that is to be able to look and see how we can make someone's life better by what we do in this brick and mortar building.
Yeah, that's really cool. And are you guys still going to be like renting space to local artists as well? Or is
Yes.
it just going to shift to, I like that. That's like a good kind of holistic feel for the future.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really exciting. I love children's programming, so we're going to be doing a lot of children's programming here, and adults. I feel like, again, that pandemic really spoke to us and gave us that insight to say adults crave learning as well.
Yeah, that is really cool. What kind of art do you do? You said
None. I am an art historian. I love learning
interesting.
and reading and being inspired and educating. That's my jam. That is what I absolutely adore. I like to try things, but I'm not in the business of selling or creating anything for anyone other than myself.
Art historian. I like that. I'm like a small business historian.
There you go.
Stalk all you guys and then tell the stories of all of the cool people doing cool things.
It's the story. I grew up in a library. I loved a library, and I loved discovering about what different people and how they faced adversity. And I think that's what we can learn. Artists speak to that. Artists talk about and project how people went through things. And sometimes it's an everyday thing, and other times it's an extraordinary thing. So that's who we should look towards.
What sort of are the best ways that people can support you guys in the next year or so?
We are running an annual campaign, and we will be supporting our community, and hopefully that people can make a donation to our organization. That is really the best way.
Yeah.
All of the money that's donated go directly to our programs, and it's well worth the donation. It's well worth the investment. We're looking to introduce companies to our programs, and look at the possibility of like corporate team building in an artist environment. That would be amazing. So those are some out of the box things that we look at.
Yeah, people do love like kind of, especially as everyone's kind of coming out of I should stop saying we're coming out of the pandemic.
I know. We're preparing for it again.
But I'm just in firm denial right now. I think probably all of us are. We're just
yes.
Really?
I'm going to go get another cup of coffee so we can stay in denial. But that's
exactly. Yeah, it does seem. I forget what I was even about to say now that we're coming out of the pandemic. I was say it's like it does seem like kind of like between families and groups of friends and corporations that are kind of looking to like build those community ties again and like build those relationships again. It does seem like kind of creating things together is a good way to do that.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what's been great about this job is that we are in Ypsilanti, which is in Washtenaw County. So we have 3 universities that are right here: Eastern Michigan University, Washtenaw Community College, and the University of Michigan. So one of the things that I love about this Riverside Arts Center and my job is that I get to introduce a new group of students to working in the arts and what different facets there are. We have a theater, we have dance studios, we have art studios. I mean, it's amazing. It's an amazing place, and we don't want to lose it. We've been happy to be philanthropic in our rental prices during the pandemic, but it's a tough call because we also have to realize that we need to charge so that we can keep the lights on as well. So that's why that model of morphing the two at the beginning, our own programming, and then keeping some rentals is going to be very important.
Yeah, that is. It's a tough spot too, because it's like, especially because you guys value the work of artists so much, but then it's like, oh, but we have to keep the lights on, otherwise we can't support. But then like during the pandemic, it's so hard.
Yep, it is. So I absolutely adore the community that we are in and their support. It is, it's so diverse here, and it's amazing to be. I've just had this job since June, so I have been able to come in and meet some fantastic people that when you enter a new place and you have all these people saying, we want this to succeed, how can we help you, what can we do, how can we help, and some of them have no money at all to help us, and just that you can do this, that kind of support is so wonderful to be involved in.
Yeah, that is really great. Well, so why do you feel like it's important for people to support local businesses and nonprofits, and like what kind of do you think that adds to the community?
For us, a huge amount of addition to the community. I mean, you think about all of the ways that an art center engages its community. So for example, we're just talking about summer camps next year, planning for our summer camps and having the opportunity for people to grow and learn, and in an environment that is so different from school. We also want to do after school programming. What do parents do? What do parents do with their children after school? If this keeps them engaged, it keeps them learning in such a different way, we all learn in different ways. So I love partnering with school systems and learning about their curriculum, so that, we're not going to be the main source of that curriculum, but we are going to be a definite add-on to that, so that they can learn in different ways, get those things re-energized in them. And, it's a place of comfort. It's a place of nurturing, exploration, a safe place to creating all comes from your feelings. And, at certain ages and at certain times in our lives, we are faced with making some decisions that maybe just a little time with a paintbrush in your hand or reading a great play that maybe speaks to you is going to be the way that you come out. So
that's awesome.
Served me.
Yeah, that is really great. I'm gonna have to check you guys out. I'm not too far away from you.
Oh, good.
I live
Yes,
in
please.
Ann Arbor, so I'm like, so I hear about you guys a lot, but I've actually never been over there. So I was like,
So
oh
that-
man,
that's what we need to eradicate. That we need. We love that people hear about us, but come and see us, and we want to provide you with something to do when you're here. So
yeah, that's great. And then people can go to riversidearts.org to kind of check you guys out and check out the
Please.
programs you have coming up and all of that.
Yes.
And then, yay. Well, thank you so much for joining
Thank
today.
you. Yes,
great
thank you so
talking to you.
much. It's so nice to meet you, Emily.
Yeah, it was great meeting you too. And I like, welcome to your new job. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. Happy to be here.
Okay, I will talk to you more soon, hopefully.
Sounds great. Bye, Emily. Thank you.
Bye. Yay! Okay, so big thank you to Taj Cottage, Perfect Imperfection 608, and Riverside's Art Center for joining today. Congratulations again to Sticky Spoons Jam. You guys can check them out too. Like, they're the most tasty thing ever. And also thank you again to DT Energy Foundation, Capital, Lightship Capital, and Jobs Ohio, and our other sponsors from across the Midwest. And then make sure that if you really want to support one of these small businesses and have a favorite, there's a link in the comments where you can have until Friday to vote for your favorite business of the week. And then that business will be on next Monday, which is our final episode is next Monday. Here, final episode of the special edition. And they will receive $1,000 at the beginning of next episode. And if you have we are selecting for the final episode this afternoon. So if you have a local small business that you're like, oh, they're just so great, definitely have them apply. The application is on our website. It's like 4 minutes long, super short. And so then we will be talking to you guys on Wednesday. We have our regular episode of the Cackle where we are having Bank of Ann Arbor on. They're going to be talking about access to capital and banking and a lot of what they've seen over the last 18 months and kind of what they're seeing going forward for access to capital for small businesses and startups. And then next Monday, we have another episode, another special edition episode. And we will be hopefully seeing you guys on Wednesday morning. See ya.